everybody, and welcome to the Sports Minion Radio Show. I'm your host, DJ Carter. We deliver sports to the community the best way I can. Please tune in every Wednesday at 2 o'clock and listen to us on www.letgoradio.net. And also feel free to tune in on Facebook Live. We're looking forward to seeing you there.
All right, everybody. Hey, how you doing? It's that time again. We are live on Facebook Live. We are live on www.letgoradio.net. It's D to the J with the roll away with the most exciting sports hour right here for you from 2 to 3 on Wednesday, January the 22nd already. Man, this month is flying by. 2020 has came in strong, and the weather, let me tell you, has changed. It kind of scares me. It's 61 day, 55 the next day, 32 the next day, 77 the next day. I kind of want to poke my head out and go, what's going on? I'm trying to figure it out. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Sports Minion Radio Show. Hey, Nikki, how you doing? Good to have you, sweetheart. Thank you so much for joining us, and happy to have everybody else as you all come in to join me live on Let Go Radio and Facebook Live. So we're happy to have everybody with us right now. And again, we are live on Let Go Radio and Facebook Live. If you guys want to call in, you can call in and talk to me at 757-774-7552 because we are live on letgoradio.net. All right, got a lot of things I want to talk about today. And like I said, I actually have a few sports stories to go through. The majority of the show, I'm going to cover about 20 minutes of sports here, and I've got a couple of stories, a couple of big ones. You know, I looked at, with the 2019 season being over. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Glad you liked the intro. I was able to pull that up and get that working. I actually looked at this, and when I heard about it, Dak Prescott from the Dallas Cowboys is wanting a new contract. He's at the end of his contract for his rookie contract and all of that. He's wanting a contract in the vicinity of $40 million. Now, Jared Goff right now is at the top of the game with $33 million. I know Aaron Rodgers is in there at 32 or 33, somewhere in there. But I know Goff is at the top. And here's the thing. We talked about this a little bit a couple of weeks ago with Zeke Elliott. And the problem is when you look at Zeke Elliott, as good as he is, and again, these players get these huge contracts and these players get these huge deals, okay? $40 million here, 35 here. You got, the highest paid receivers, $88 million and big contracts. And everything is good when they, the year they get paid and everything like that. Hey, cuz, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you coming in. The funny part about this is you get a point of emphasis on, okay, we're going to sign this player. This is going to be our franchise guy. This is going to be the guy that's going to do everything for us. He's going to be the guy we go into the future with. And you look at it and you go, wait a minute. Okay, now what are we going to do? How are we going to have it? And you sign him, okay? And maybe either the production's going to go well or the production's going to go south. And you've got to look and you've got to say, okay, I've got 11 members on offense to sign. I've got 11 members on defense to sign. And you've got so much cap room, okay, but you've got these guys that say, their agents are pushing them and saying, we're worth this much money, okay? And I'm not saying that players aren't worth the money they get, okay? Because in the NFL, I was talking about it with Mr. Lamb the other day, the average, average age, Luke Kuechly last week, we talked about it, retiring at 28, concussion after concussion, and he has done a lot at the linebacker position. But you look at the average age in the NFL is 30 to 33, okay? So by the time you're 33, you're kind of getting up there, and you got to look at where your career is at. Now, are they going to pay Dak Prescott $40 million? Is Dak worth $40 million? Has he made a Super Bowl? No. Has he made the playoffs? Yes. Is he a good quarterback? Yes. Is he worth $40 million? I don't think so. Hey, Brian, thank you for coming in. Appreciate it. Brian, nice to have you. I look at this and I say, okay, these guys that are coming in, and everybody wants big money. I mean, Saquon's going to want it. I know Dwayne Haskins is going to want it, and now Dak wants it, and he's following the trend. I get it. I understand. It's hard because – thank you, Elizabeth. I appreciate that. It's hard because you look at this and you want the team to do well, okay? But and here's the thing. We and I'm not – again, I am not a Patriots fan. I have never been a Patriots fan. But I've been, in support of Tom Brady. And I'm talking about Tom Brady by himself, whose wife is a millionaire. Tom Brady is a millionaire. But here's the thing. Tom Brady makes $15 million. $15 million. Now, he has not asked for more money. He has not restructured his contract. He has not gone out and said, I want more money. Okay, when he loses, he loses. When he wins, he wins. And here's the thing. I feel like everybody in the NFL is trying to outdo everybody else at the whole position. And I guess it's the spirit of competition. I understand some of that. And I get where you're coming from. And again, I think the players are worth it. But you look at, I mean, Des Bryant, got the big contract, and then he got, let go by Dallas. You look at, Ben Roethlisberger is another one that got paid big. Jared Goff got paid big. And you see these guys, Kirk Cousins got the $88 million contract for Minnesota. And where's he sitting? Home. The thing about it's such a game of chance to me. And the thing about it, I'm trying to figure out how the NFL can base and the agents can base these huge contracts on these guys. And all of a sudden, the season is over with and everybody's sitting in the same place except two teams. You got Kansas City and you got San Francisco. Now, let me get this out of the way before we go into anything. Super Bowl prediction. Okay, you got the Pro Bowl coming up. NFC is going to take the Pro Bowl. I'm going to let y'all know that now. NFC, that's not a prediction. That's a spoiler. Thank you, Paul Heyman. But NFC is going to take the Pro Bowl. Now, Super Bowl, I will tell you right now, I want to see San Francisco win. I really do. I want to see San Francisco win. But the problem that I'm having, and the thing that I'm having a problem with is I don't know if defensively San Francisco can keep up with Kansas City. I think if San Francisco can get Kansas City behind and minimize Patrick Mahomes, keep him in the pocket, don't let him run. Because I'm telling you now, we talked about this a little bit 4 or 5 weeks ago when Patrick was hurt. I've talked about running quarterbacks on this show, and I've mentioned it before. A running quarterback in the NFL is a dangerous thing until he gets figured out. I said, and I quote, once Lamar Jackson gets figured out, he's going to be done. And when he gets hit, he's going to get hurt. And what happened? Tennessee minimized Lamar Jackson. Guys weren't catching passes. And Mark Henry ran like the Dickens. Nobody knew what was going on. 200 and some yards, touchdown after touchdown after touchdown. Now, here's the thing. The one advantage that I do know, okay, and I want to sit there and say this. Raheem Mostert has been a beast for San Francisco. If he gets going and Kansas City cannot control the running game and Garoppolo has time to sit there and throw the ball at 2.3 with his release. Now, remember, Garoppolo sat under Brady, so what are we talking about? We're talking about the successor that was supposed to be that was under Tom Brady, that when Belichick had him, Belichick didn't want to let him go. When Garoppolo went to San Francisco, Belichick was as mad as he could get. And everybody tried to figure out why. Belichick let him go. Now, in his first year, Garoppolo got hurt, okay? But that wasn't on a running play because Garoppolo's not a running play and a running quarterback. Neither is Brady. The thing about it, when they can sit back there and the offensive line can give you time to throw, when the offensive line can give you time to sit back there and pick you apart, through zone coverage, through man-to-man. You got to know that Garoppolo is able to do that. Garoppolo is smart enough to know to run when he has to, throw first, run second, and get down. I think that Mahomes relies on his legs a little bit too much. And I, in talking about this and looking at this, we've gone around and tried to figure out why is it that quarterbacks rely on their legs so much, whether they do it in college. Now, Lamar ran like a machine this year. I mean, most broke records and most runs and most rushing yards and this. I mean, ran for 80 yards and 200 yards and 125 yards. And he's a good quarterback. Don't get me wrong. Lamar Jackson is a great quarterback. I think, as years go on, he will continue to be dangerous. I think that Patrick Mahomes is going to be dangerous as well if he keeps the control of his legs to a minimum and doesn't rely on them. You can be a mobile quarterback. You can be a quarterback that runs when you have to, but you also have to be smart in a situation where knowing what the play is going to do before it happens. And this is where defensively I think Kansas City is a little bit stronger in that defensive mindset. And let me tell you, Travis Kelce, good God, you're going to have to double him. You're going to have to triple him. You're going to have to quadruple him. But now here's the thing. If you start double teaming Kelce, you're going to leave open other receivers, okay? You're going to leave open the back in the backfield and a lot of screen play. When those blitzers come hard and you get a screen off of that, that's a dangerous thing. And I think the final score is going to be 28-21. I think Kansas City is going to take it, but I want to see San Francisco take it. I've wanted to see San Francisco succeed ever since Garoppolo went there because I think he's a good quarterback. I think things are going to happen for him. I think things are going to happen for San Francisco, but I don't think they have enough to take over Kansas City because I think the momentum is on their corner. You saw them come back against Tennessee. You saw them come back against Houston. They were down Kansas City was down 24-0 against Houston, and that's the thing. You got to see where you're at, what you're doing, what's going on, what the choices are, and I think that quick momentum and that hurry up offense, because Mahomes can do that as well too. Again, thank everybody for joining in. I appreciate you as you come in. I know I've got a lot of viewers right now, and I'll get to your questions in a second because I got a lot of comments coming in too. But I honestly think that Kansas City is going to take it, even though I want to see San Francisco do it. Final score 28-21. Kansas City is going to take it. Super Bowl champion is going to come down to the fourth quarter, just to let you know. All right, so that's my Super Bowl prediction. I wanted to go ahead and get that out of the way. Now, I talked a little bit about Dak Prescott at the beginning of the show. I talked about, what was going on with these big-time quarterbacks and big-time players getting big-time contracts. I wonder, and this is my question for Dak and all those guys out there, and again, feel free to comment on this. You can email me at thesportsminionradioshow@yahoo.com. You can also call me at 757-774-7552 to be patched in live on Let Go Radio and Facebook Live. So here's the thing. Do these big-time these big-time contracts for millions and millions of dollars put pressure on these players to perform at a high level, which causes them to overanalyze it, which causes them to play harder than they're normally going to play and get hurt? Because a lot of the questions that Mr. Lamb asked me the other night, we were talking about injuries in the NFL. Injuries happen. Injuries happen to every team. Injuries happen everywhere on every team, and you get players that get hurt. Now, some teams, like the Patriots, like Washington, you look at Miami, you look at San Diego, you look at San Francisco again with Garoppolo getting hurt. And guys can play through injuries, but sitting there trying to figure out, I just got paid all this money, and now I have to play, lights out because now it depends on it. It scares me because I'm looking at these guys and say, okay, Kirk Cousins got an $88 million contract for Minnesota. Does he do well? Yes, Kirk Cousins does well. Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback. Is he the type of quarterback who can put a team on his back and take him to the Super Bowl? Obviously not. He can get close, but in my opinion, the Saints got riveted out of a playoff appearance. That's the third year in a row. The pass interference call the year before. I mean, that wasn't a touchdown. Bottom line, the referees have got to be able to fix what's going on with these calls, and they've got to be able to, especially when it comes to championship games and game calls that decide a game like that. Yes, referees are human. Yes, referees make mistakes too. Yes, I get that, and I understand that. But here's the problem. When you keep making the same mistake and you keep making the same problem for a team that, has gotten to where they need to go, and then every year, as in 3 years in a row, this happens, something has got to be done. It's not fair to them, and it's not fair to the officials because they're not doing their job. If a fan can plainly see it, and we're not talking about real time here, if you can see it in real time, you know for a fact it needs to be overturned, and there needs to be something that can be done to fix that, but I don't think it's going to happen. All right, let me move on real quick. I got to tell you, this story kind of shocked me when I heard about it, and I read about it, and it gave me a lot of pride in this. Tennessee Titans defensive coordinator Dan Pease announced his retirement from football on Monday. Pease spent 2 seasons and saw the Titans finish the NFL's third best defensive unit in 2018. This year, the AFC finalists allowed 20.7 points a game, 359 yards per game, which ranked 12th and 21st in the league, respectively. The 70-year-old is one of 8 defensive coordinators in the NFL's history to coach in a Super Bowl with 2 different teams. Pease has worked as a defensive coordinator for 10 seasons and has been coaching in some capacity for 47 years. He spent time with a number of NFL teams, including the New England Patriots and the Baltimore Ravens. The Darken, Ohio native served as the Kansas State head coach from 1998 to 2003, posting a 17-51 record. Now, let me explain something. When you've been in the NFL for 47 years, you are doing something right. When you have been in the NFL for 47 years, you've taken 2 teams to Super Bowls, you are doing something right. Now, this goes back, and I want to talk about this because coaches really have a bad rap, because when the team falls apart, it's not the players, it's the coach. And a lot of that, we talked a little bit about this last week too, going in and seeing something. Look at Cleveland. Freddie Kitchens, boy, he was, man, when they were first going, Freddie Kitchens was the man. It was Freddie Kitchens this, they're fired up. They got all this talent. Everything's good. Odell Beckham and this, that, and the other. Nick Chubb and Baker Mayfield. And everybody's just going happy. Everybody's super happy because you've got all this talent on the team. Once this team started gelling and started getting together and things start happening, you lose a player, you lose a receiver, you lose a main guy, you start losing, everything starts going crazy. You're trying to figure out why. You can't figure out what's going on. And then all of a sudden, when you try to dig yourself out of a hole and things keep happening in succession, the coach is to blame. Jay Gruden was the same way. Now, the difference with Jay Gruden, okay, I think that Jay Gruden didn't have the closeness with the players and didn't really have an identity for the team of what he wanted to do. You don't sit out Adrian Peterson the first game for no reason. If that man is healthy, you don't sit him out. I think you have to have, and we've talked about this too, you have to have a scheme. You have to have a plan in place. You have to have an identity. You have to have a culture. And the players that you pick and the players that you get in what you're going to do have to support that theme, have to support that identity. And if they don't, if the staff is not on the same page, if the medical staff is not on there, if the coaches aren't on there, if the players aren't on there, and they're not going to play to that ability, it's not going to work. I'm going to talk about the Redskins just for a little bit, but going back to this coach, 47 years, you got to figure that culture of who he played for, New England talking about it, you got to realize they have always said, do your job, and it works. That is something that works, and that is something that is understandably when you have something that isn't broken, you don't need to fix it. I'm not trying to sound cliche here, and I'm not trying to be like one of those, professors. Well, I done told him what he needs to do, and he doesn't follow it. It's not that kind of thing. It's that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It doesn't matter who you have in the backfield. If your offensive line doesn't work, you can't pass because you've got pressure coming at you all the time. If your offensive line can't create holes, then you can't run. I mean, you've got to have a solid offensive line. I think, you've got to know how to adjust. I think that's what makes Bill Belichick a great coach. I think that's what makes the coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers a great coach. You look at something, when Pittsburgh started their year out, it was not good for them. It was not strong for them, but they turn it around. You look at why they turn it around, because when you believe in something and when you go for it and you don't change, you adjust your plan, but you don't change what you're going to do, and it fits, you got to know, Epps being in there, and the same thing, talking about the ability of what your players have around you. That's where I think Ron Rivera is going to make a difference, because he cares about the players and he knows what he wants to do for the Redskins. I think it's going to be a great thing for them, but it's going to take time. They're not. I believe they'll be 7-9, 6-10 their first year, because you've got to get everything in. Would I like to see a better start? Yes, but the point is, you've got to get everything in, and the coach and Rivera wants to win now. Let's get that right there. He wants to win right now, but it's going to take time. One of the best things that I think the Redskins have done is gone to a 3-4. They've gone to a 4-3. They were at a 3-4 offense before under the coordinator that they had. Once he was let go, thank God he was let go. I'm so glad he was let go. The name is eluding me now. Of course, I knew every name, and now it's eluding me. But anyway, with you look at Jack Del Rio coming in, being a 4-3. That's what the Redskins have been set up for. And Haskins, as he continued to develop and as he continued to get better, later on in the season, he played, 9 games? So you figure by his 8th and 9th game, it was starting to pick up for him. He was starting to understand what defenses were doing. Now, he played hurt, okay, and that is dangerous. When you play hurt, if you can play through it, great, but that right there is a career shortener. So you've got to look at what's going on, when and where and how, and figure out what are you going to put around this player to make him great, okay? Because you're only as good as the people around you. And the thing about it is, with Brady, it doesn't matter who's around him. Usually, and you look at the times they won the division, the Super Bowls they won. They've been to 10. They won 7. Goodness gracious, you can't ask 6. You can't ask for a better team than that. They've made the playoffs consecutive time after consecutive time after consecutive time, and it's because the system works. If it's not broke, don't fix it. You have to adapt a few things. You have to change a few things, but that's the way it goes. Last sports story I want to cover real quick. Got a little bit of a golf story for you. Got a golf tournament coming up, and with Tiger Woods, Tiger paired with Rome at the Farmers Insurance Open. Tiger Woods will tee off at 12:40 Eastern alongside John Rahm and Colin Morikawa, I think, on Thursday to kick off the opening round of the Farmers Insurance Open at Torrey Pines. The Marquee Group will start on the north course and will switch to the south side on Friday. The tournament will mark Woods' first tournament of 2020, and he will have his first opportunity to break the all-time wins record. Tiger tied Sam Snead's mark of 82 with a victory at the Zorro Championship in October. All right, so here's the thing. Now looking at Tiger Woods' age, and he held off the back surgery and all that. He decided to wait a little bit and come in. I have to admire Tiger Woods. I really do, and I have. And a lot of people are still stuck on the things that he's done, and he's done a lot of bad things. I've said this before. Yes, but here's the thing. You got to move on from that. You can't live in the past. You got to live in the future. Okay, you got to go from there. Good luck to him. I think it's going to be a good game for him. I think it's going to be a great tournament for him. I'd like to see him win another green jacket and then go off into the sunset and be done with it, because I think his health issues, his knees and back are catching up with him. But we got to see what's going to happen. Good luck to you, Tiger. Shout out to Tiger Woods and the team. I hope that they both do well at the Farmers Insurance Open. Now, all right, so I titled this, here's only worry about what you can control. And honestly, this is kind of a shout out to my brother, because this past month and a half for me has been really tough. Not tough in things I couldn't handle, but things that I couldn't control, I let them get the better of me. Now, I've told people 1,000 times I have CP, and everybody knows that, okay? CP doesn't define me. Cerebral palsy doesn't define me. It never has. It never will, okay? But I learned that this past 2 months and you really have to understand, you never really appreciate something until it's gone, until you don't have it. And with me saying that, my van, I have a handicap van, and I've had it. It's a 2006. It's only got 40,000 miles on it. It's in good shape. And in the past 3 years in that van, in the past 3-4 years, I've spent about probably $2,800 to $3,200, and now probably about $3,800. Well, closer to $3,800 now with what just happened. Now here's the thing. It is very difficult for me to sit here and say that this whole situation didn't bother me, because it did. It actually drove me crazy, and I was ready to pull my hair out. That's why it's gray and shorter. One of the things that my brother has done, he's been in pest control most of his life, and he ran a fleet. He had to do fleets of trucks for his employees and things, and so he had to know enough. He has said he's not a car guy, but he knows enough to get him by so that somebody's not going to screw him over later on to figure out, when he's got to get something changed. Now here's the thing. You've got to understand that there's going to come a point in time, vehicles are going to wear down. When you have a vehicle with modified equipment, whether it's a ramp, whether it's a dual battery ignition system, whether it's a rear entry, side entry, whether it's got a lift that folds out in 2 pieces, or whether it's got a Braun conversion on the bottom of it, all of this has little tiny pieces and a lot of sensors, okay? It is good to get to an area or a car dealership that knows what they are doing, okay? Now, people will tell you, and mechanics will tell you, this is wrong, and this is wrong. If you don't know a lot about cars, it is good to have someone with you that does, because they can say, you might want to get a second opinion on this before you spend this money, before you decide to go here. I actually, there was an issue with my door, okay? And again, I am going to mention one company because they really helped me out. Kennedy and Branch Complete Car Care, awesome company. 2525 Airline Boulevard. Bill Kennedy and David Branch, two of the finest people on the earth. I got to tell you, got my van back. It's in good working order now. Still a small gap on the door, but as long as it closes and as long as it works right, I'm going to just keep it the way it is. Thank you to Bill Kennedy and David Branch and Aaron and all the guys that worked on this thing and ran these tests. And I got to tell you, these guys are awesome. Right away fixed the door, sort of. And there was an issue with the control box, and they did a lot of things. And, when you have 2 car places working on cars or vans, everybody wants to blame each other. But I tell you what, Kennedy and Branch didn't do that. They took ownership of the problem. I love them for it. What a great group of guys. If you have car trouble, if you have van trouble, if you have any trouble at all with a vehicle, go over to 2525 Airline Boulevard and check out Kennedy and Branch Complete Car Care. Excellent group of guys. They do good work, and they do it fast. They are fast, and they are very, very, very thorough. And that's one thing I love about these guys. They know what they're talking about. Now, here's the thing. I did not have my van for almost a month. And I was freaking out because I was worried about what is going to happen. Now, I worry about a lot of stuff. I always have, and I probably always will, because that's my makeup. That's how I'm wired. But again, a shout out to my brother. He has stuck by me on this thing since this crap first started. I got to tell you, my brother has been right there in the situation. He can tell when I get tense. And it's not so much what he says or what he does, it's how he does it. You know, when I was told my alternator was bad, I'm like, this is the 5th alternator we've had put in. What's going on? And he's like, DJ, you know, just step back for a minute. Just take a step back, take a breath. You know, there's nothing you can do right now. Let's work on one step at a time. Let's work on one problem at a time. And once we fix one thing, we can worry about the next. So I ended up having to tow my van over to Kennedy and Branch and the whole 9 yards. I mean, I had cards have trouble going through, and things were I was just about to lose it. Well, my brother and I, we go out to lunch, you know, and we come back, and we get the van, and everything's good, and he goes to put the van in drive, and all the van does is ding, 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 the whole way down the road. So we ended up taking it to Kennedy and Branch and getting this thing fixed, and they had it for a couple of days, literally 2 or 3 days. Kennedy and Branch had it done, and here's the thing. I realize that things take time, and Kennedy and Branch is a busy company. They have cars coming in all the time, and I'm sure Right Away does too. But the problem that you face and the things that you face and go through, you sometimes you've got to take a step back. And I'm a fixer, man. I want things done right. You know, I want to know what the problem is, and some of that's patience, and I'm not afraid to admit that. Some of that is hard to say because it's tough when you don't have a car. Okay, but when you got a car that has handicap equipment or you know equipment that deals with modifications, it's going to cost a bunch, and the labor and the diagnostics and all that stuff. Most of these companies start out at $115 to $90 to $115 for an hour, and it's tough because people with that are on disability and that don't make a lot of money don't have it. But again, it's good to have somebody in your corner. You know, whether it's a family member or somebody that knows about cars and things like that, you know, to just get you calm and to get you on the right track and to realize it's going to be okay. You know, and I struggled with getting a new van, I said, Chuck, what do I do? You know, I'm going to get a new van. He said, no, don't do that. He said, do you have $500 minimum a month to put down, to pay on a van? And I had to look at this stuff because things were coming in my head. He said, look, drive that van till it dies. You got to use it. You got to know what to do. And it's true, you do. But it's hard because when you're putting money in it at the time and things just seem to roll, which has happened, that is something that has to be done. All right, let me switch over for just a minute. Again, big shout out to my brother Chuck, brother Paulsy. We appreciate it. Love you. Thanks so much for your help. All right, karate update. Let me explain. Here's what I'm going to do. I have given this a lot of thought, and I continue to think about it and continue to, make decisions. Martial arts is always going to be an important part of my life. Okay. And the problem here is, I hadn't had my van. I got to get stuff paid down. Like I said, I spent about $600 getting everything fixed. But the good news is it's fixed now. And I had to stop karate for a while. When I said that I have stopped karate, I've got a lot of emails, a lot of questions about, have you stopped martial arts entirely? Are you stopping Tiger? No, I'm not stopping martial arts entirely. Right now, I'm going to give it till May. I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do. I have a strong intuition that I'm going a different path. Am I going to go to Tiger? Go back to Tiger? I can't say for sure whether I am or not. I am leaning towards no because I'm not happy with how a lot of things have gone over there. and still to this point. Now, there are people there that care, and there are people there that are reaching out. And for those people, I really appreciate it. But, to me, there's a situation where a lot of this is the whole about, being able to sit there and say, is this what you want to do? It's hard when you've given 10 years of your life to something. Okay. I've spent over $11,000 in 10 years. That's a lot of money. Not counting geese, not counting gear, not counting tournaments, not counting weapons, not counting racks, not counting bags. That's just in tuition fees. Now, the problem is Tiger is a good unit, and Tiger is a good school. I don't have a lot of problems with Tiger. The problems that I have, I'm going to deal with them personally. I'm not going to sit here and air dirty laundry, on Let Go Radio and on Facebook Live. But one of the things I am going to do, and I am going to talk about, your word as an individual, male or female, is something they can't take away from you. And I've said this before, people with cerebral palsy are dedicated, okay? People with disabilities are dedicated. And there are some, and I have seen some that are lazier than a sack of rotten potatoes, and I get that, and I understand that, but that's everybody. That's everywhere. But I believe the one thing that I stand for, even though I don't, is the time. As we're live back on Facebook Live again. Sorry about that. Had a little bit of a technical issue, but we're up and running now. Still live on Let Go Radio, and hopefully Facebook won't stop again. But the thing that I look at, and the thing that I see, as I said, my word is important to me, and it's important to everything that I believe in, that I am, that I've ever been. And the problem is with this, whether I've got CP or not, if I tell somebody I'm going to do something, whether it's call, whether it's, to do a public speaking engagement, it is very important to me to sit there and know that I've got to keep my word and to do the best that I can in the situation that I've got. Now, I understand when you've got a lot on your plate, it's hard, okay? But as a business, when you tell someone something, if you don't follow through, if you don't do what you say you're going to do, number one, that can make your business look bad. That can make you look bad. That can make people look bad as, an individual, because everything that when you own a business, or when you have a business, or when you have anything that you have, whether it's a YouTube show, whether it's a podcast, whether it's a cooking channel, whether it's CP Talk, whatever it is, everything that you do is should be a reflection of you. And unless God decides to say, hey, DJ, get up out that chair and start walking, things are going to be the way they are. And I've accepted that. And the one thing that my mother has always told me, and my family has always told me, is do what you say you're going to do. Be a man, stand up for who you are in the best way possible, and go for it 100%. I've always said, CP or not, I give 100% on everything I've got. I always have, and I will always continue to do so. I know people from Edwina Wilson to Corey Wilson to Kelly Wilson to Nikki Tony to Taylor Harris to oh God, I can name so many people that they are the essence of themselves, go through who they are and what they are. They have the support units they need. They have the family units they need. They have the backgrounds that they need. And Alexis is another one. You look at these people and Sharon and Linda and all of these young women and young men that have come through. There's a boxer on YouTube that has CP that is getting ready to compete again, and I follow him, and I cannot remember his name off the top of my head. I apologize, but the thing about it is I look at these people and I look at this wonderful organization. And when all of this stuff started hitting me, it really, you're welcome, sweetheart, it really pushed me to an area that I wasn't used to being, that I haven't been in a long time. And when you get down, the enemy uses that to try to create a foothold. But there's something my brother said, and it's a little phrase that I've heard a million times: don't make a mountain out of a molehill. And it's true, you can't really make a mountain out of a molehill, because the situation is what it is. There's certain things in every situation that you're not going to be able to control, no matter how much you want to, no matter how much you want to fix something. There's certain things in every situation that you may not be able to control. And the hard part about it is, when you're stubborn like me and you're in the situation that I'm in, and you've gone through the things that I've gone through, or you've gone through the things that's someone like Nikki or Taylor or Kelly, or all of these folks that have gone through, it's hard, Oh, I'm glad, sweetheart. I'm so glad. You make me smile every time I see you. Every time you get on my show, I tell you, let me just say this. In doing a show like this, I said before, you have to realize, only control what you can control. It's not about the 30,000 problems in the world. It's about the one that you got to start with, because eventually, and I'm going to say this, and I don't mean any respect by it, eventually everybody's going to let you down. Family will let you down. Car dealerships will let you down. Friends will let you down. Pastors will let you down. Churches will let you down. Not all the time. The only person that you can rely on, and this is for me, I'm not trying to push it on anybody else, the only person that I can rely on truly is God and myself. Okay? So understand that what I'm saying right now, there's going to be those situations where you're going, oh my God, I can't take no more of this. And I'm telling you guys, I was there. Okay? I was there. I was at the point of, I can't do this no more. Just sell the van. I don't want to deal with the van no more. My van is breaking. I can't go nowhere. I can't do nothing. I said, Chuck, can we just sell it? He said, then how are you going to get anywhere? You got to think about what you're doing. You got to think about what you're saying. Take a step back, relax, step out of the situation, and just don't stress. Play a video game. Go make some food. Go do something. Let's go get some lunch. You know what is amazing about true friends that really stay with you? When they're able to get you out of the situation just by talking to you. Miss Winnie came by, Mr. Corey came by a couple days ago and got me hooked up with a lot of surprises and a lot of things that I have in store that are coming. I've got so many things that are coming up, and I'll let y'all know when they hit. Y'all just be with me, because it's a lot of stuff. They are still in my corner. And when you think, just because you don't see production doesn't mean production isn't happening. Just because you don't see something going the way you think it's supposed to go doesn't mean that God is not moving in your life. It's not a lot of times what you do. It's how you react and how things go in life. And it's hard because it's one of these things, a lot of times you're not going to get recognition. A lot of times you're not going to see what is happening in life. And I'm sorry again for the technical issues with Facebook, but we're still live on Let Go Radio. So if Facebook goes down again, guys, just tune in to letgoradio.net, because I've been there live there the whole time. I want to mention this as an individual and say, you've got to realize to a point that sometimes you've got to battle through. Sometimes you're going to have to push through situations that you don't want to push through. They're going to come, and they're going to come hard. But you've got to build yourself up as a person, and you've got to know that you've got people in your corner, and God is in your corner. And here's the thing. I think, I consider my cerebral palsy a blessing. I've said this 100 times. I wouldn't want to be any other way than I am right now. I wouldn't want to be any other person than I am right now. I wouldn't want to be any other individual than I am right now, because my CP has helped to make me who I am. Okay? I don't believe in rushing through life. I believe in enjoying the moments. I believe in being, on top of my game, the best person that I can be, the best individual that I can be toward the people, whether you have a disability or not. I'm going to treat you with respect. But on the same hand, let me say this, on the same hand, respect is never given. Respect is always earned. Okay? That golden rule is do unto others as you would have people do unto you. This is a 300-pound chair, and if you get on my nerves or cross me or push me off the cliff, I'm climbing up the cliff, and I'm going to run you over. If you don't think I'm going to run you over, keep on doing what you're doing to cross me and push me in a negative direction. Sometimes you got to weed the negative people out your life. Sometimes you got to get them out. Sometimes you got to deal with it, do what you got to do. In other situations, sometimes you got to be strong enough to say, look, this isn't working. Okay, you can redirect something. You can change something in your life if it's negative. You can change it for a positive. That don't mean you got to stop what you're doing. Okay, if you're in therapy and therapy isn't going the way it's supposed to go, don't stop because it's not going the way it's supposed to go. Look at what your routine is. Look at your therapist. Talk to people. Find out what the reason is why it's not working. You got to push through and battle through and get through these hard things that you deal with. And trust me, it is easier said than done. Trust me, I get it. I understand it. I know. I have gone through it, and so have the people that have been with me on the show. So have the people that have called me. So have the people that have supported me. I'm telling you, I have some great people in my corner. Guys, you know where you can reach me. You can reach me on the Sports Minion Radio Show at yahoo.com. You can reach me on YouTube at the Sports Minion Radio Show. You can reach me on the Facebook like page at www.facebook.com/the Sports Minion Radio Show. You can also call on letgoradio.net at 757-774-7552 and be patched in live to the Sports Minion Radio Show. We're going to have a great show next week. I plan to have a guest next week. I'm not going to tell you who it is. I'm just going to bring them on because I want to bring them on because I love them and they're wonderful and they're great and they're good people, and we're going to have a lot of fun. So I do apologize for the technical issues with Facebook as we got it back up. I do want to say this as my closing thought. I've got about 10 minutes before I end the show, but I want to say this. There can be a time in your life where it seems darkest. There can be a time in your life where you're down and you don't know what's going on, you don't know why, and you can't figure it out. But think about this. Sometimes it may not be your job to figure it out. Your job may not be to figure out what's going on. Your job may not be to understand it. Your job must be or may be sometimes just to go through it. Sometimes you have to go through the hard parts of life to understand exactly what's going on. Okay? And understand that there are people in your corner. And if there are not, you have to surround yourself with positivity, not negativity. Okay? There's always going to be some negativity somewhere. Okay? But negativity cannot be your center of focus. Don't worry about what you can't control. Your center of focus has got to be on you and what's going to make you better and what's going to make you stronger. Okay? Now, I'm not saying mold everybody over to get what you want to get, but sometimes you got to take the weeds out of the garden. That's a basic time frame. That's a basic state of what I'm saying. But also, you've got to know that sometimes you don't want to push. Sometimes you want to step back and take a look at the situation, the whole thing, the whole picture. You got to see where you are, what's going on. You got to see why. It's going to take time. It's going to take effort. It's not going to be easy. And understand, just if it was easy, anybody could do it. I do believe, and I do understand that God's not going to give you more than you can handle. Okay? But in the same sense, sometimes I have those questions and sometimes I have those thoughts of what in the world is going on here? Why in the world am I going through this? But like I said, you're not the only one going through it. There's someone out there that's always got it worse than you. And you've got to remember, you are who you are. The only person that can change you is God and yourself. Nobody can change you. And sometimes you don't have to change. Sometimes you just got to take a look at what's on the menu and kind of change it out a little bit. Sometimes it's the way you look at the situation. Sometimes it's the way you see the situation. And sometimes it's the people within the situation. So you got to evaluate where you are, what you're doing, and what's going on. Guys, remember, always, always, always do your best. Always believe in yourself and each other. And you can catch the Sports Minion Radio Show next Wednesday at 2 o'clock live on www.letgoradio.net and also Facebook.com and Facebook Live. Please, please check us out. Keep those emails coming. I am going to have a show next week dedicated to a lot of emails that have come in. I've had some questions for Cooking with Carter. I've had some questions for Chairmaster Games, and I've got some questions for the Sports Minion Radio Show. So I'm going to read a lot of questions next week, and we're going to get those answered, and we're going to go through those. Thank you guys for emailing me, for calling, for all the questions and answers that you've given me. I really appreciate it. Hope everybody has a good day. If you can't be good, be bad, but be good at it. This is D to the J with a rollaway saying we'll see you again next week on the Sports Minion Radio Show live on Facebook Live and www.letgoradio.com. .net. I'm sorry.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sports Minion Radio Show. I'm your host, DJ Carter. We deliver sports to the community the best way I can. Please tune in every Wednesday at 2 o'clock and listen to us on www.letgoradio.net. And also feel free to tune in on Facebook Live. We're looking forward to seeing you there.
Take care, everybody.